Hey everyone, and welcome to a patch notes video for Eve Echoes for the 25th of October 2023. It's not very common that I do patch notes videos, but whenever there's something in the patch that I think is worth mentioning that might impact people's gameplay, and it's something more than we addressed a little bug in a particular capital ship, or this minor little incident that very few people are aware of, when it's something more substantial, I kind of feel the need to cover it. So, first and foremost, looking at the patch, we have new content, the Cloak Jammer Tower. So this is a new add-on structure that allows corporations that have sovereignty to be able to shut down cloaking devices within their sov. So what that means is we should be seeing an end now, as of this patch. I have yet to have a look at it in-game. We should be seeing an end to people camping systems 24 hours a day with a cloaky ship. Now, yes, you can still, if this is to be understood correctly, you can still cloak up in a sovereign system, and if you move around and reactivate your cloak, log off here and there, if you're basically active and you're actually doing something in the game, this isn't going to impact you, because how this is worded is that over time, after multiple waves with this cloak jamming tower, your ship loses its cloaking stability over time. Now, if you're only around for 10-15 minutes looking for a juicy target to jump on with a stealth bomber, it's not really going to affect you. But if you're setting up a cloaky camera, so that and it's going to be an AFK cloaky camera for log off leads to be able to find targets to jump in on, it's not going to work out for you. That cloak is going to decloak after a certain amount of time. Again, it depends on the structure of the game, but it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. We also have a capital ships parts factory. Again, I've not looked at it in-game yet. This has been a rather busy week with regards to work, so I've not been able to compare any of this yet. But what we're seeing here is a new way to reduce the cost of manufacturing capital components, which should also help reduce the cost of super carriers for those that do want to partake in that gameplay. For the rest of us, if we're a member of a corporation that has a capital ship parts factory, I guess they're a little bit more accessible for us. Corporation Tech. So Corporation Tech is now been raised to level 6. So we have more things that we can dump resources into to level up. For example, we can now increase our maximum corp number by 50 members, allowing corporations to grow even further. We have territory expansion, meaning that corporations can now claim 2 more systems, provided we research or pour enough resources into this. Yeah, you can tell it's been a long week. I'm saying a lot. It's the dreaded words you should not be saying as a YouTuber, but I seem to be saying a lot today. Capital ships parts standardization improves the efficiency of capital ship parts factories, further reducing their material consumption. So this is doubling up on the capital ships parts factory. So odds are capital ship components are going to get a lot cheaper. Additionally, the titles Elite Corporation and Advanced Corporation have swapped places. I don't really know what that means. I presume that's part of Corporation Tech. We have new skills, specifically related to Logi pilots. That's Remote Shield and Remote Armour. Again, it looks like it's following the current trend of you having your basic, advanced and expert. Basic most likely being available to purchase from the skills screen, and then advanced and expert having their own increasingly difficult methods of obtaining, including the marketplace for those that happen to sell the skills they find or build to place on the market. Now, here's the bit that really interests me. And bearing in mind, I'm coming from the perspective of someone who started this game as an indie player and later moved on to PvE, industry, and eventually YouTube. Industry? No, ignore the industry bit. I didn't move on to industry. It stuck with me. But anyway, insurance. Due to the volatile market valuation for some of the ships and the high cost of sending ships to the fringe regions, the insurance company has decided to introduce the following two adjustments after research and analysis. Compensation options. Modules, rigs or nanocores can be individually compensated. It is no longer required to compensate the whole ship. So, to put this into context, imagine you've got a Navy battleship. You've got one of the new, say, the Apocalypse Navy issue battleship. You put on a really expensive nanocore on it, something you've been investing in on the Apocalypse Striker before this, for well over a year now. You put tons and tons and tons of resources into it. You then fly the Apocalypse Navy issue because it is clearly the better ship. You lose the Apocalypse Navy issue. Now you have to reclaim the Apocalypse Navy issue at its incredibly expensive insurance point cost, just so you can get that nanocore back. There are a number of people that it will have genuinely hurt, especially considering how much cheaper you can buy it on the market. Now, I know why the insurance cost is so high. It's because it's based on the cost of actually building the ship, which is fair enough. But it's put off a number of people from flying the ship, especially with a nanocore, because you have to redeem the ship if you want your nanocore back. That's not an issue anymore. According to this, you can now get your modules, rigs or nanocores off of that Navy issue battleship without having to reclaim the Navy issue battleship. It's a win-win all round. There's no cost really to this. So moving on to the second bit, compensation location. This is the bit that really interests me. Compensation is no longer available in Cobalt Edge. If the Capsulator has their ship destroyed in Cobalt Edge, they may go to other regular regions in New Eden to apply for compensation. This is huge. So what this means is you can't DR fraud your ships from low sec, high sec, null sec across into Cobalt Edge. Now you have to move your ships into Cobalt Edge the old-fashioned way. You have to go through the gauntlet, the possibilities of blindly flying through gate camps. It means more teamwork in having to ask people to scout ahead in something cheaper to see if there's a gate camp. And that's what Cobalt Edge is meant to be all about. It's meant to be more about teamwork and stuff like this, as well as an increased risk factor. And personally, if in, I don't know, 3 to 6 months time they decided to apply this insurance change to the whole of nullsec, I wouldn't complain, because this is just the sort of thing that I've always considered insurance should be in the first place, whereby you could claim it in high sec or low sec, but not null sec. And as a number of other players and YouTubers have previously stated, Cobalt Edge is kind of the null sec that we never got in that regard, and this is further proving it. So this is just making me a bit more excited for Cobalt Edge, because it just makes things a bit more interesting over there. Moving on, we have events. We're going past the more amazing part of the patch notes, but I might as well finish it off, because this is obviously more than just we updated the weekly market valuations. So we have the Lost Wasteseeker fleet strikes again. As the initial exploration of the Kalevala expanse has made remarkable progress, more and more Wastelander drones have been appearing everywhere in New Eden. I don't know what the Kalevala expanse actually is yet. During the event, the Lost Wasteseeker fleet, I really struggled with that for some reason there, may spawn in all systems in New Eden. You've got medium, large and extra large. We've had this before. This is going from October 25th to November the 8th, which is curious because that's over the period of time you'd expect a Halloween event, is it not? But anyway, this is an event we've had previously. I'm not going to go over it too much. Meta level 5 and 8 electronic warfare modules and interdiction modules have a chance of dropping, so that'll be interesting for some. We have blue and white, I was going to say black and white there, porcelain nanocores with a limited rerun. Again, they're calling it a limited rerun because they don't want to promise that it will be available in a year's time again. The whole fear of missing out manipulation part. So these are premium nanocores, which come with an ability. The ability is glaze mode. blah blah blah. It increases the resistances to damage to electronic devices and other certain damage types. However, activating it will make the ship's structure more fragile. Okay, so it gives you resistances against electronic warfare, and at the expense it decreases resistance to kinetic and explosive damage and repair amounts. Okay, so near immunity to electronic warfare at the cost of your ability to tank damage. Okay, so that's what that nanocore does for you. Personally, I'm probably not going to be spending however much money it costs to obtain one of these cores. I'm going to wait for the freebie to come around in 12 months time in a cruiser option box that may or may not be useful. That's where I stand with these premium nanocores. We have the Navigator program. This is typically when individuals such as myself who are a bit tight with their money tend to invest in the game. So this is where for 499 Aurum, which I tend to top up so that I can afford the Concord Pass, you get bonus skill points for 30 days. So there's no complaints from me there. New arrivals. Oh, I have not been going over the event times, have I? Too late now. I'm not going backwards. I'm not backtracking and confusing people and forcing them to backtrack to understand where I am. New arrivals. The new enhancement unit drawer box arrives, which contains a large amount of low slot enhancement units. Opening up to 20 times will grant you a version 10 enhancement unit option box. Oh, okay. So I think this is a translation error here. What I'm reading is low slot enhancement units, but what I'm understanding based on the V10.0 enhancement is general units. So it appears that we've got some kind of loot box, and if we open it up 20 times we get a general unit option box at level 10. If I'm understanding that right, that'll be quite interesting. It will kind of crash prices a little bit for those particular level 10 general units, but I guess for individual players there's nothing to complain about, just market traders. Meanwhile, the AI Core Upgrade Bundle and Capsuleer Booster Supply are also available now, which contain plenty of materials such as Type 4 General Nano resources, offering great assistance to Capsuleers in their navigation New Eden. So it looks like there's more bundles to be able to upgrade your Golden Nano Core and possibly upgrade it to the AI status. Why it's actually called the AI Core, I don't really understand, because you can have the Golden Core without the AI function either activated or even unlocked. So that naming strategy always baffles me a little bit, but hey ho. And of course, at the end of the patch notes, we have valuation based on market transaction record. Yeah, so that's kind of this week's patch notes. Bit more juicy than usual. We actually have some gameplay implications. So yeah, let me know what you think about cloaking and insurance, the changes that we've seen there. The rest of it kind of goes over my head a wee bit, but there we go, there we have it. Thanks again for listening, everyone. If you haven't hit subscribe already, it'd be lovely to see you guys hit that button. But in the meantime, thanks again for listening. See you guys in the next video, and fly casual.